All right, ready?
Oh, yes. Let's go.
Okay. 1, 2. The TEFL Commute. I forgot the season.
Brilliant.
Hold on. What is it? Season 3 episode?
All right.
Oh,
3, 2, 1.
Do you think the emergency signal will come in if we don't talk for a long while?
All right. Ready? Go. 3, 2, 1. Do it. I was thinking.
I was laughing
Let's do it again.
Hold on. Damn. Sorry. Wait.
Freshly back from TEFL, one of the biggest blah, 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 blah.
Worst
God.
intro.
Oh.
Forget it. I'm going to start
Make
again.
it convoluted, Lindsay. Go on.
Yeah, okay, hold on a second. Let me just erase and start that again. Let me just close other things that make noise. Thing will disturb me. Will it be the phone this time? Okay.
People. Damn. Sorry. Pause. Damn.
Did I hear someone's phone?
I'm not going to stop ringing.
Go on, just...
No, it's my.
I thought that was my
that's
stupid goddamn phone, and I turned off one thing. I turned off all notifications, and the goddamn. I'm gonna start again, and I'm punishing the phone and the iPad to another room. James, is that okay?
I think our producer will hate us for that. Anyway.
Yeah,
Very good. I think I mean, the content was great, but it was also really slick.
And now for something completely different.
I think that if
Fair enough.
well, I'll say since we've spun, if you wish.
Okay, do it again.
Well, what was wrong?
You're a bit too kind of.
it was a bit
stilted.
jarring.
And?
A bit what?
You could. I could hear that you were sort of,
I was
making up as you
pausing,
go. Yeah.
I
Just do it.
was
If you do it again
pausing.
now, it'll be fine because you've
All
already
right.
done it.
But we've. I'm just.
Lindsay, you're gonna have to do a bit of heavy lifting here, I think.
I think so. All right.
Hello and welcome to the TEFL Commute podcast, a podcast for language teachers, which isn't about language teaching, although the topic may invariably crop up. In case you're wondering who I am, well, my name is James Taylor, and I'm the third wheel in this TEFL Commute team. And for once, Sean and Lindsay are taking a break, and they've decided to allow me out from behind the laptop. So here I am in front of the microphone for once. Sean and Lindsay, of course, are enjoying a well-deserved summer break, and as you heard from our intro there, presenting this podcast can be somewhat tiring and hard work for them. And I know you're used to the slick professionalism that you associate with this podcast, but as you heard from the intro there, sometimes as the producer of this show, let's just say sometimes I have my work cut out for me. So what is this episode? Well, we've put this together for you as a little mini bonus episode while the guys are having their summer holidays. We thought we'd provide you with a little bit of bonus material for you to enjoy while you're hopefully having a relaxing and enjoyable summer. So in this episode, we've got various extra features of things that we weren't quite able to fit into the main podcast. So you'll hear from various people that we've included and that we had to cut short, and a couple of things that we just couldn't quite fit in. So first up is a voice that will be very familiar to regular listeners of the show. Kerry Jones has been part of the podcast since the beginning. In fact, she was part of our panel discussion on Dead Poets Society back in season 1. Most recently, she was heard co-presenting episode 4, Voice, with Sean. In this recording, she tells us about an anecdote of something related to the alphabet. This was the theme of our season 3, episode 2, and Kerry decided she just had to share this story with us, which unfortunately we couldn't quite fit in. It's funny how something so seemingly innocent as the alphabet can lead to something so complex and end up being quite so daft, as Kerry explains in this story.
I heard that the topic for this episode was the alphabet. This little anecdote came to mind. I don't know if you're familiar with the acronym parsnips, which are a list of taboos that are generally accepted in global English language teaching materials. They're subjects that writers need to steer clear of. So, for example, P for politics, A for alcohol, R for religion, N, S, missed out the S, S for sex, N for narcotics, I for isms in general, racism, sexism, etc. And the final P is for pork. And pigs, which of course both start with P. And in this case, there was some primary material that was being adapted from a market where pigs and pork were completely acceptable to a market where they wouldn't be. And so there were some major changes that need to be made to the material. So, for example, the story of the three little pigs would need to be replaced by Goldilocks and the Three Bears. But otherwise, it was kind of decided that throughout the material, where there was a reference to a pig, it would be possible to replace the pig with a goat. And this went as well for images. So maybe in a vocabulary set on animals, instead of having a pig, you'd have a goat. Now, there was this one page where in the background there was an alphabet frieze on the wall. And, of course, they'd been told that if there's an image of a pig, replace it with an image of a goat. And what happened was that you have the alphabet frieze, the typical alphabet frieze that you might find in a children's classroom. So A is for apple, B is for banana, and you get to P, and of course P wasn't for pineapple in the book, P was for pig. But in this new version of the materials, you had this kind of slight little twist, where on this alphabet frieze, P is for goat.
Back in Season 3, Episode 6, which was on the subject of conferences, we were joined by Gavin Dudney, who told us a great anecdote about someone who decided to leave a session early and accidentally walked into a cupboard. If you want to hear that anecdote, make sure you go back and check out that episode. Gavin's back again now with a couple more anecdotes that we didn't have quite enough time to fit into the episode. Over to you, Gavin.
Another one that springs to mind, which I absolutely loved, was a friend of mine who was working in Barcelona at the time, and he went off to a set of events in Mexico. And on this particular event, he had a fairly long lunch, and it wasn't it wasn't an excessive lunch, but something in what he ate didn't agree with him. Anyway, he went back to the venue, he got ready for his session, someone put a wireless microphone on him, and he was just out at the back of the venue thinking about what he was going to do when he suddenly felt slightly nauseous. And just around the corner of the building, he spotted one of those big metal bins, like an oil bin or something, with rubbish in it. And he was lucky enough to be able to run over to that just in time, and at that moment vomited rather copiously into this metallic bin around the side of the venue. Unfortunately for him, the wireless microphone was on, and everyone in the whole venue heard him vomiting into the bin. The last one I can think of is a very good friend and dear colleague of mine who was up on stage doing a plenary, and she was wearing a woolen dress. She had a large star-shaped pendant hanging from a leather strap around her neck. And at one point she bent over to do something, and one of the points of the star in the pendant caught in her dress, and when she stood up again, the front of her dress lifted up in front of the entire audience. I think we all have these things, but they're much funnier in the telling.
So there you go, some wise words from Gavin, and conference presenters, take note. Also from our conferences episode, Lindsay had a quick chat with Christina Rebuffet-Broadus, who has a particularly unique way of taking notes, and here she shares with Lindsay how she likes to commit those conference talks to memory.
Christina, you have a really interesting way of taking notes at conference talks. We're going to share these on a couple of these on the website, but why don't you just tell our listeners what you do?
Okay, so what I do, it's called sketchnoting, like it actually has a name, and it's in a nutshell, it's basically visual note taking. Like instead of just writing down a whole page full of text, you're adding illustrations, you're using different styles of handwriting, like different fonts, almost. Adding a lot of little visual decorations, even like sometimes it's not really a significant, it's not a drawing, it's just like stars or something to make it a little prettier. And instead of, organizing your notes like, let's say chronologically on the page, it allows you to sort of do it in a more like nebulous way. And then, to illustrate the connections between concepts and ideas sort of as they develop in the talk.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So thanks to Christina, and the next time you're at a conference, perhaps you can try your own sketch notes. I always know that my notes from conferences are particularly bad, so perhaps that's something I should consider trying. It wouldn't be an episode of the TEFL Commute without a bit of Facebook wisdom. And I'm sure, like me, you very much enjoy listening to those wonderful dulcet tones of our Facebook wisdom guru, whoever that mystery man may be. But what you may not realise is that our guru hasn't always had such a wonderful, deep and meaningful voice. As you'll hear now, perhaps in the past his voice wasn't quite so profound and affecting.
I call my students my kids, because in our year together, they aren't just kids on my class list. They become part of my heart. So often you find that the students you're trying to inspire are the ones that end up inspiring you. Sean Jenkins.
What could have been, what could have been. Now, loyal listeners to the show may recognise my voice, because occasionally I pop up in an episode as the jargonbuster, where I attempt to explain and deal with various sort of linguistic difficulties and problems that that particular subject may offer. For our punctuation episode, I wanted to talk about, well, believe it or not, my favourite punctuation mark, but unfortunately we didn't really have time. So here it is now. This is me talking about my favourite punctuation mark, the interrobang. Over to, well, me. In our punctuation episode, Sean asked people for their favourite punctuation mark, and what he found interesting was that people really struggled to answer this question. Maybe you're thinking about this now as you listen to me and struggling yourself. I, however, do not have this problem. My favourite punctuation mark is as fixed in my mind as my favourite band and my favourite film. For me, there's only one choice, and that's the interrobang. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this oddity of punctuation, think about this statement. Really? When we say this word in this way, what are we really saying? Firstly, we are asking a question, so a question mark is obviously necessary. But we're also expressing surprise or disbelief, and so an exclamation mark is also appropriate. Sometimes you'll see both of these following a word or statement, but there's a solution which is much more elegant. That's right, it's the interrobang. So what does it look like? Well, it's basically a combination of an exclamation mark with a question mark, as if they've both been typed in the same space. It was invented in 1962 by advertiser Martin K. Spector, who was looking for a punctuation mark suitable to express excitement and disbelief simultaneously. His intention was to add nuance and clarity to rhetorical questions. But what I really love about the interrobang is its fantastic name, with its delicious combination of hard and soft sounds. Derived from a combination of interro, from interrogative, another name for the question mark, and bang, which is printer's jargon for the exclamation mark, it's surely another strong reason for bringing the symbol into popular use. However, sadly, Spector's vision has never really taken off. Just like so many invented words throughout history, it just hasn't really caught on. I'm not sure why, perhaps people just don't really see the need for an extra key on their keyboards. As for me, I would happily swap those strange parentheses or the / for the interrobang, and then maybe, like the @ symbol or the hashtag, the interrobang's time will come. So that brings this bonus mini episode of the TEFL Commute to an end. I hope it's enough to tide you over those summer months while you're waiting for us to come back, as we will with Season 4 in the autumn, when Sean and Lindsay will be back and normal service will be resumed. So until then, have a great summer, and we'll see you in the autumn. But don't go anywhere just yet. If you're a really, really loyal listener to the TEFL Commute, then you'll know that we like to put little Easter eggs at the end of episodes. And here's one that we couldn't use on our alphabet episode. Taken from the YouTube channel Grade A Under A, it's a fantastic rant called Why the English Alphabet is Stupid. The whole thing is 7 minutes long, but we included a little clip of the narrator talking about one aspect of English that he found particularly infuriating. Well, here's another one. I hope you enjoy it.
The letter X has to go as well. X just makes a X sound, like at the end of the word box. But that's the sound that the letter K and S would make together. Why are so many letters trying to copy K and S?